This is Jessica with Rabbit's Pantry. I'm recording this one and posting it because Facebook Live, I think, is getting inundated right now because not only I, but several other people are saying they're having a hard time being connected. So it just seems easier to record this and pop it up online for everyone. So I want to dive into today's chart. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you. There is so much going on. First of all, let's say, oh, we're finally in Taurus. It's so good. Taurus is like stable and consistent and home, which is probably good right now because a lot of us are still at home, and because we are, it's really nice to just know that we're finally like having this aligned up so we can be a little more content and happy about it. I'm always happy to be home, but I've created my own world here. So anyhow, so with Taurus being here, obviously it kind of brings us into a whole new set of energy about, like I was saying, like stability, consistency, nurturing, even like a lot of times, like with Taurus, you can be very self-soothing, and which is fantastic because we've had a lot going on. So I'm going to start going through the chart here. Today I'm going to start over in the 4th and 5th house. I have gotten a couple messages too this morning, and I have more messages, so I need to go through and read them. And it is directly relating to these houses. So I just thought I would touch on them a little bit further than I have in the past. Right now, because of what is going on, be patient, take a breath. Not everyone is able to cope very well. And there's so much transition going on. And I say there's transition going on because we also have these other areas in the chart that, you know, that we're going to get to and how these are all connecting. But right now, like, for example, we touched a little bit about Pluto last week, but this is really creating an environment that can be very explosive for some houses. It can be all of the things where you might not have agreed on before are being exploited. The changes others need that they feel are necessary, because we also got a lot of expression going on in here. If they really have this huge drive, or if you really have this huge drive where this has got to change and I need it to change, just take a moment before you lash out on anyone. Be careful about the words you're choosing, careful about the actions you're taking, and let's just breathe through that and kind of have this reflection, if you can, about why do I have this just like uncontrollable desire to create this or to make this happen? Or, you know, it might be rearranging the furniture, changing the household diet. It could be all kinds of things. You know, there's been huge fights over just the toilet paper roll issue, right? We all know about this. Anyways, which I'm oblivious to. I'm like, what? It goes a certain way? I didn't know. So when you were looking at what is going on down here in the 4th and 5th house, understand that there's a lot of conflicting energies. So you've got these energies that are, you know, practical and logical, fed by all of like the let's create chaos, let's make things happen, let's change stuff up. And then another part of you being like, no, let's just improve what's here. And it always takes two to tango. A lot of us aren't in a single person household, and we're sharing that space with our animals and other people or whatever. And when you're doing that, it creates these situations. Now, if it's just you and you are just like rocking that house on your own, awesome. What you're going to be going through is the same thing, except instead of projecting this with others or trying to create that balance with someone else, you're going to probably be reflecting on some stuff that has happened. Like, what were your roots and upbringing? What if you want to paint a wall? Like, you can take those actions, and you're the only one that has to suffer from those consequences. So if you paint the walls red, you better like it red. I've totally been that person that did that. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the 6th house too as we move through this. With the 6th house, we have that energy that is fantasy. It's things that are esoteric. It's sci-fi. It's all of that, right? But we have it in a house that is like, well, what's our daily habits and routines? What's our health like? What are these things that are happening here? And so what I think is really cool about this energy is how you can do so much with it. I mean, you can create these daily habits and routines from all these things we've been learning and all these things we've been bringing in. And in these daily habits and routines, You can have fun with it. You can also feed your soul with it. Like if it's lighting a candle, doing a meditation, reading a verse, whatever it is that you do to create your daily mantra and to feed your soul, honor that growth that you're having and create a situation where you have this really awesome, powerful thing inside you. And if you can't create physically, I mean, there's the Mars going on in your 5th house, so I'm sure you have a desire to do it. But if you can't create that, envision it. Like the power of vision and what you see in your own mind is the most powerful. And so if you can create a vision of today, tomorrow, what it's going to look like when we start coming out of this and we start going back out into society and how much our society has changed, what's that look like for you with all that you've been taking in and all this transition you've been going through? Like, are you going to go do something different? Are you going to do something the same? How is the world going to impact you? How are you going to respond to it? These are all good, great questions. So how's that look for you now? How's it going to look for you next week? In a couple months, 5 years, 10 years, even if you can, even what is it, 20 years now, look for you. Because having that visualization is really empowering. It's giving you a clear focus. It's giving you some ideas of what you're going to do that day. And it also creates some goals and comfort and structure that you might be apprehensive about right now, or just don't really know what it looks like. And you kind of want to have some mental facilities about you so that when these other situations arise, you can kind of have an idea of how you're going to deal with that and cope with that. So then when we move into our 7th house, I feel like this is just like that 5th and the 4th and 5th house, where I'm like, a couple different things for a couple different people. And I always think it's really fun when I'm reading charts because I'm like, yeah, I totally feel that. So in this one, I'm like, oh, I can see how this is unfolding. And me being ruled by Mercury, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like just really pushing everything with that Mars going on. So this is my normal combustible self. But this is the house that we've talked about, the one connecting and these things that are important to us. And again, one of the things actually, totally digressing down another trail, and I thought that I would make this short and it's not, and I'm really sorry. I just talk a lot. And I have so many things I want to share with you. So with having this situation, one of the things that I can pull from my own is I did this whole paper this week on mentorship and like what to look for in a mentor and how to go about having mentors. Because if you don't have a one, or you don't have that one in your career or business or other areas of life that you're wanting to experience, maybe it's just someone going through your awakening with you and mentoring you on the religious journey you've chosen or the practices you're curious about. These types of mentors are so important, and the quality of this one you're trying to find to connect with. So I spent a good amount of time writing, I think like 2-3 hours. I was like a 4 a.m. morning. Anyway, so I went through and wrote all of that, and it's totally right here, right? Like we're communicating, we've got this drive and this desire to have this one. At the same time, we're healing, right? So we're healing from all these things because as you start reflecting of like, who's my one? And you start adding like these qualifiers of what makes this person your one, again, any part of your life that this is happening in, you do go through and reflect on the experiences you've had, right? And so that's kind of what's going on, which again, this is so funny because this is totally what's going on with me. I made this and I was like, yeah, after I wrote that thing on mentoring, I was like, wow, so much came out of that. And then it was like, yeah, I have struggled along with a lot of other people reflecting right now. And it's like, here's fears. So my failures, my lessons, fears, and achievements create my ability to teach my lesson. I think that is so powerful. Anyways, I was like, that's my thing. So that's kind of going on right now, right? So you've got past relationships you're looking at and maybe dealing with, and maybe you're healing from that. And it's coming into your current relationship and it's creating some of these challenges you're having at the house. Maybe it's holding you back from the next step you want to make in your career, maybe, or however your purpose is to serve the society that we're in. There's so many options of how this is reflecting for you. And it's not like, it's not very smooth. It's not. And I don't even know what else to say. And it's because you have these energies that like, Aries is that fire, and it's burning up that air of that Mercury. And then, you know, the Mercury is just feeding that fire, and it just keeps going. Now you understand why I say uncombustible. But then you also have Charon there that is all about like just healing wounds. And this, as this travels through our chart, whole new layers of same experiences that we thought we healed from before might become refreshed and reborn. All right, enough about that. Sorry, just was like, I better make sure I touch on this. Now, the 8th house we kind of touched on already because of the fact that we brought up that it's Taurus, and that's where the sun is right now. What's really cool, though, is the 8th house, when you think about this, this is things that are happening to you, things you don't have control over, things that it's like this happens, and now this is the reaction of it, right? And originally in astrology, this was like where death and wealth and really like major topics are coming in. And it's very funny because at the same time, we're dealing with that. During this whole crisis, money has been transferring everywhere, right? Like some of you have gotten money. Some of you have given money. Some of you have had like your entire money go, while others are flourishing. Like it's crazy what's happening. Like money's transferring everywhere. And at the same time, this is also a situation where we're seeing a lot of people leave us and a lot of journeys continuing on outside of where we're at now. And society is changing so much, right? And this is all going on in the 8th house. And now we've got Taurus in there, which is like, okay, Mother Teresa's coming in. Things need to settle down. We need to take care of things. And it's really cool as you're watching all of these things unroll, and we're trying to create a better, brighter future out of all of this chaos that we're experiencing, all this loss, all this like uncertainty, and all these gifts and all of these like things. And so again, that was one of the reasons why I made that slide I told you about, like just like failures and fears, but even your achievements, because every day right now is a unique situation for everyone. The 9th house, I'll just touch on real quick, just because, you know, it has Gemini in it and Venus, and what a beautiful combination that is. So it's still back with learning, like a lot of learning. It's also this combination. Geminis are already kind of like got this flirty personality about them, but now you've thrown Venus in there. Great. As if they needed any help. Anyways, but you're seeing this come back through in other areas of your life about that home and that pattern and what's going on. And so when you've got that going on, like how have you, again, these lessons, but don't just make it all like black and white. Like, you know, stop and smell the roses. What is beautiful in your life right now? What is something like, I think, you know, flowers, I think they're amazing. I adore roses. I love them, but I love them in a unique way. Because they're just strong flowers, and they're so fragrant, and when you smell them, it just naturally starts calming you. And so there's things like that, right? Like, what do you find the beauty in? I like soft velvety fabrics, right? What's yours? So I have velvet furniture. Like whatever it is that you find beauty in, it could be a piece of woodwork. It could be just having a very nice, clean house and a well-oiled machine of daily habits. Whatever that is for you, take that beauty and don't disregard it. Put it in your home. Put it in this new life you're creating. Put it in to your routine. You know, maybe adapt some of it to your family. Maybe as a family and a group of the in your house, you can create something even outside of your house. Maybe you talk to your parents and you're just like, hey, I want to start coming over on, you know, Sundays and having dinner. Whatever that is for you, don't disregard it. Learn what you've been learning. Learn what feeds your soul and what you feel like you need, and learn what other people need, and see if you can't make that happen. And then we're going to go back over here and touch on the 10th house. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this right now, honestly, because we've talked about it a bit. And I just really want to, because if this might be the first time you've seen this and last week you missed or something, I don't know. So we've got Cancer going on in the 10th house. This energy is coming into the other houses of your life that are about your home and your family and your routines and your habits and taking care of yourself and your health, like all these things. So when you're looking at this, this is Cancer, right? And Cancer, I love Cancer. I always think of Cancer as the Christmas, not the Christmas story. Oh my gosh, I can't even, Christmas Carol. And there's the one ghost that comes in and it's just like fat and jolly. And I'm like, that makes me think of Cancer because they always seem to evolve around food. And anyways, so and you've got this situation right now where it's like you can reflect on what's going on, right? Are you in a career that you're not happy with and you want to be in a career that gives back to society or that speaks your truth so that you can share that with others and help them learn lessons that you've already experienced and can share with them? Like there's so many questions that happen in this time right now, but do understand that it's very emotional, right? This is coming from your heart. In addition to it, it has a lot of energy that is about rebirth. So as you're rebirthing your passion and your desire, you might be happy in your career. And if you are happy in your career, maybe write about why. And then maybe connect with people who aren't, or other people that would have that same passion and enjoyment from this type of career. So maybe look at it that way and see what you can do moving forward and how that might help feed your soul and help others along the way. So I think that that's it for today. It was kind of a lot. I'm gonna stop sharing that screen now. If you have any questions, you want to chat about this more, you have an opinion of your own about it. I know there's quite a few astrologers that follow as well, which is, I'm not gonna lie, a little intimidating because there's so many astrologers. They're just so smart. And I just love listening to your opinions as well, or your interpretation of the readings. So if you want to send a message, ask some questions, again, thoughts or ideas, just go ahead and send a PM through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or reach out to an email with hello@rabbitspantry.com, and I would be super happy to respond to you. And thank you so much. Take care.